So Phi Gamma Delta, commonly known as Fiji, is a social fraternity with more than 144 active chapters and 10 colonies. What are you colonizing? Across the US and Canada. It was founded at Jefferson College in Pennsylvania in 1848, and along with Phi Kappa Psi, Phi Kappa Delta forms a half of the Jefferson duo. So there's apparently more than 196,000 brothers in this fraternity. So they use the nickname Fiji due to Phi Gamma Delta's bylaws that limit the use of the Greek letters. I guess there we go. Well, that's been a question that hasn't really been burning, but in the back of my head, but there we go. So founding, their beliefs. Let's see what they say for their beliefs, because I'm actually quite interested. So their beliefs, they have chosen to not use the term alumni for members who have graduated. Post-collegiate members are referred to as graduate brothers to imply that the membership extends past undergraduate experience. And similarly, one of the models used by the organization is not for college days alone, which honestly, knowing what we're about to get into, it worries me a little bit, because what do you mean that your behavior is going to extend beyond college? Because like I said, we're going to be talking about rape. So I would prefer for it to never exist, but for y'all to be like, no, not for the college days alone. Like, no, thank you. No, thanks. So I guess this is just going to go through, looks like the basics, just, you know, where they started and their organization types. And I don't care about that pig dinner. Okay, apparently they have a pig dinner. They have a Fiji Islander party. I'm sure there's zero cultural appropriation in that at all. What is it? The fraternity once used a mascot called Fiji Man, a thick-lipped, dark-skinned man in a grass skirt, sometimes holding a spear or a bone in his nose, in the style of a once common stereotype of African Americans. Fraternity members built large sculptures of this racist caricature as a party decoration. And then you can see sexual assault allegations. Here comes hell, guys. Let's just jump into it. Pretty easy. This is what I'm here to talk about anyway. I'm going to go ahead and hold on before we get to that. Going back to the Fiji Man, the caricature. Apparently, in 1989, they hosted a fake slave auction. In 1989. And it says an inquiry was made into this, and it found that racial slurs were used, and this made minority students feel less welcome at best, and it was extremely hurtful and offensive, obviously. So let's go ahead and, from New York Times, inquiry on fraternity slave auction, because those are words I have to apparently fucking say. And New York Times is going to make me subscribe to read this, but you can see in the teeny tiniest little print that they blur out, inquiry on fraternity slave auction, right? This could still be but Blair. Perhaps not. Let's go ahead and take a look at that article from a different point of view. So this one is from a Times staff writer. It says USC fraternity does penance with seminar aimed at fighting racism. So in Los Angeles last fall, a group of Phi Gamma Delta pledges at USC circulated a leaflet that many people considered racist. As part of fraternity initiation rites, the pledges were holding what the flyer advertised as a slave auction, complete with a picture of a thick-lipped black man in a grass skirt, a Fiji man, reminiscent of a figure the fraternity once used as a mascot. Go ahead and let that sink in. I didn't even let that sink in for a minute. I didn't know they did a fucking slave. How did you think a slave auction was appropriate? Now, this says right here on the side, this was clipped from the 11th of September, 1989 is when this was originally published. That's just on the side right there. So they say, we are trying to do something to make up for it, said Holiday, a senior majoring in history. The seminar was conducted by Lillian Roybal Rose, a counselor and consultant who has taught cross-cultural communication in universities, faculties, women groups, and police departments. But yeah, so this is the one same fraternity we're going to be talking about. They're apparently known also for their really bad hazing fraternities. This is one of the first notable deaths caused by this fraternity. And it is, of course, a drinking death. So this article says MIT settles in fraternity death. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology has agreed to pay $4.75 million and endow a scholarship in a settlement with the family of a freshman who drank himself to death at a 1997 Phi Gamma Delta fraternity initiation. The kid was 18 years old. It's a little fucking, like, what do you say about this? To understand how this fraternity is actually still up and running right now. So let's go ahead and continue on. So the first death in 1999 associated with this fraternity was here. So that's 10 years after the racist thing. So what it says about this 19-year-old, what happened to him, for some details here. A 19-year-old pledge. Oh my God, this is another one because this kid was 18. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? There's another one? Okay, so 2 years later, apparently. 1997 is when the 18-year-old died. 1999, another one. This is clipped from the Alliance Times-Herald, Alliance, Nebraska, 1999. Supreme Court, University of Nebraska had duty to protect hazed student. What this article is going to basically tell you is that a 19-year-old pledge was handcuffed and forced to drink 15 shots of brandy and whiskey and 3 to 6 beer cans in rapid succession. Oh my God. So he sued the university for $91,000 of damages. So after becoming sick, the student was taken to a third-floor bathroom where he was handcuffed to a toilet pipe. And the kid apparently broke loose from the handcuffs and attempted to escape the bathroom window by sliding down a drain pipe, and he fell from the third-story window and suffered head injuries as a result of this. Fresno State bans Phi Gamma Delta fraternities, Pi Chi or Phi Chi chapter for 5 years, and this as a result of alcohol-related violations of university policy. In this one, it looks like a 19-year-old named Danny Daniels drank himself to death and was the result of this. So this was not a small incident. Another lawsuit was filed in 2012 after a pledge drove into a shallow pool as part of hazing, apparently, in West Virginia, and they were banned for 2 years in 2012, and they were reinstated in 2014. Phi Gamma Delta, there's that again. A freshman pledge from Stillwell when he was hurt at a party. And the party, in the Missouri lawsuit, Fritzy's attorneys claimed he was ordered to drive into a makeshift pool on September 17th, 2010 at the Fiji Island party. Fiji is a nickname for the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity. The suit said Fritzy was permanently paralyzed from his injuries. He was taken that night to KU Hospital in Kansas City and later transferred to Craig Hospital in Denver for treatment and rehabilitation. The national fraternity was named as the defendant because the suit claimed at least one member of its national headquarters and member of the Chapter House Association visited the house during the 3-week period before the party when the pledges were forced to construct the pool. This was only a 2-year suspension. They literally made these kids build the makeshift pool, drive into the makeshift pool. I don't know how this happened exactly, which of course we're not going to get details. And the kid is paralyzed. And they only get a 2-year suspension. That's insane. But we're not done yet. Because of course we're not. Because we can't be. This is just all the lead up to what we're getting into. Okay, here's this one. It's from the Daily Wildcat. Fiji placed on interim suspension pending a UA investigation. This one is after arrests were made for, it looks like what happened here was pledges were made to stand on buckets of ice and salt, which resulted in numerous injuries. Now, if you guys don't know what happens when you have ice and salt and human skin all touching, but if I'm correct, is that like, it's a cold burn, right? It literally burns your skin off. But it's cold, it's not heat. It's horrific. And all burns are terrible, for the record, but this is a different type of burn that is just, it's gross. It's terrible. Again, should not have happened in the first place, yet here is another incident of this. We're not done. More suspensions in 2017. So we're moving the timeline up. So now, University of Nebraska, okay, so Nebraska again, this is not good. Nebraska twice. Suspended its chapter of Phi Gamma Delta fraternity until May 2020, which means they will have been reinstated last year. And I believe, if I'm correct, this same chapter that got reinstated in 2020 is the one that has the TikTok involved where the girl was left on the lawn after she was raped. I believe it's this chapter of the fraternity too, the same one, because I remember that the fraternity in question was just brought back from suspension. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So the suspension follows a university investigation that uncovered a pattern of behavior and series of instances within the fraternity in violation of the student code of conduct. The behavior that they were suspended for included reckless alcohol use, hazing, and inappropriate sexually based behavior, including a pattern of sexually harassing conduct. The conduct occurred in multiple incidents at various points over the course of recent academic terms. While not the focal point of the suspension, comments made by Fiji members January 21st outside a fraternity house during a women's march were consistent with the pattern of sexually harassing conduct evident in multiple other incidences. And for the record, what they were saying was there was a women's chant going around talking about rapes on colleges, and they were standing up for their rights, saying, I don't want to be fucking raped anymore. And these guys instead came out and started chanting, no means yes. That's these guys. Real great fraternity, right? Now, continuing on. Same fraternity, new news article. Butler student reported she was raped repeatedly at a Wabash college fraternity. Guess which fraternity it was, guys? I'll give you one fucking hint. Let me zoom in on that for you. Fiji. You may be right. They may have been chanting no means yes, yes means anal. I don't know if they did the last part, but I do know they did the first part. So the student was accused of sexual assault. The lawsuit claims that the woman drove back to Crawford on April 28th to report she'd been raped a day earlier during a fraternity party. And the college had no formal code of conduct. What he only told her was a gentleman's code. I'm just gonna say that if you have the desire or actually do go through with raping somebody, you are no gentleman or gentle lady. Women can rape too. You're not a good person. You are absolutely just a piece of shit. So Wabash's typical punishments include removing or revoking the student's membership on athletic teams, scholarships, financial aid assistance, or fraternity membership, but that students who perpetuated sexual assaults were generally not expelled or suspended from school. So imagine that, going to a school, getting assaulted, going through all of the terms like that you have to do. You get the rape kit, you report that you've been raped, you do everything, and your school goes, well, we don't have anything formal, it's just a gentleman's code. I couldn't imagine it. I absolutely fucking could not at all.